Rule number 4. The Leviathan of the deep holds the magnum opus of your life, and you can take it. So the Alchemists had this phrase that Carl Jung loved, which was "Instercelinus invenitur." I probably butchered that, but what that meant was, in filth it will be found. That is, what you most want to find will be found where you least want to look, in the filth. In the darkness of the deep, where the great serpent of chaos, the Leviathan, lurks, guarding the treasures only great adversity keeps. There's this old story from King Arthur as well. He and his knights of the Round Table want to find the Holy Grail. That is, the most valuable thing in the world. Interestingly enough, they don't know what it is exactly, and they definitely don't know where it is. But they know this Holy Grail is everything, like the elixir of life or the magnum opus to the alchemists. So they don't know where to look, but they're guided by their instinct, by the guiding star of their self in the Jungian sense. And each knight, listening to his inner wisdom, decides to start his search for the Holy Grail by entering the forest at the part which looks darkest to him. So what does that mean? It means your greatest meaning is hidden behind the door you're most afraid to open. So imagine there's a place or thing in life that you're desperately avoiding. You know you should go there, but you don't want to, and you haven't mastered it, whatever it is. Maybe you need to pursue a career you know you'd love, but haven't started on the path. Or maybe you need to talk to a beautiful woman with an amazing personality that you click with. Or maybe you need to have a difficult talk with a close friend that you've offended. There are various levels of abyss here, or dark parts of the forest. The ultimate form of the abyss represents a monstrous part of your life that can make you or break you. And that's precisely what these knights were riding into. The darkest part of the forest was the scariest thing they could confront. It was the filth and the terror of the abyss. And in that abyss, the greatest treasure was eventually found by the knight with the purest heart, Sir Galahad. But not until after fighting the many monsters that lurked on that path. So here's the point. In the filth and horror of the deepest, darkest parts of your internal mind and external life, that's where you'll find your Holy Grail, your magnum opus, your most meaningful insights and experiences and achievements. So those scary goals you've been putting off, pursue them. Negotiate with yourself and take it one tiny step at a time, even if it feels embarrassing to take such tiny steps. Those humble steps add up. Consistent effort, even minuscule effort, creates habits, and habits are the pillars of your character and ultimately your destiny. And remember, when we speak archetypically of entering the abyss or the forest or the ocean, etc., we're not just talking about taking action in the external world or just the internal world of the unconscious, but both. So let's take a quick plunge into the internal side of things. Carl Jung supposedly said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This isn't actually 100% true, but it is a more readable paraphrase of what he said in Ion, in the 4th or 5th chapter called Christ, Symbol of the Self. In other words, you need to direct your focus like a beam of light into the dark of your unconscious to see what's directing your actions and shaping your fate, as your unconscious mind determines over 80% of your decisions and actions. So what does that mean? Make your unconscious conscious. How do you gaze into the chaotic abyss of your unconscious mind? Well, I won't go into details in this video for time's sake, but shadow work is one very important way. If you pay attention to your resentment, for example, or any strong emotion really, and really search yourself to figure out where that emotion came from and why it's there, you'll start becoming aware of the contents of your unconscious mind. Also, pay attention to the things you resent in other people. Those are often things you hate about yourself, weaknesses you perceive in yourself that you're projecting onto others. There are many other ways to explore your unconscious, like Carl Jung and Nikola Tesla's active imagination methods, which is a recent 2-part video I made, actually. Check that out if you feel like embarking on a read book sort of adventure of your own, hopefully without the years of psychosis. Moving on to rule number 5. Know the symbols and archetypes to understand the way the world works, to individuate, and to help others do the same. Think about it this way. You spent tiresome hours for weeks and months just to begin to understand how to interpret the magical runes and glyphs and symbols we call letters and words. Why? Because whether you realized it at the time or not, reading and writing are 2 of the 3 things that make you the most dangerous in life, as Jordan Peterson would say. The third being verbal communication. Why wouldn't we do the same to understand archetypes, those collective symbols that explain virtually every nook and corner of life itself? With these symbols, which were collected, shaped, and painstakingly crafted by the unconscious minds of millions upon millions of our ancestors, is an entire universe of life, knowledge, and meaning. Understanding just one archetype, let's say an individual's shadow or anima, even partially, can completely transform that person into an infinitely wiser, cleverer, abler, and more whole person. Here's a quick breakdown of the value of understanding archetypes from a prac-app standpoint. Archetypes help you assess people and understand them better. And it reveals how the world as a whole works. They help you develop a healthy personality. Being aware of the archetypes that make up your personality helps you understand more effectively who you are, and also helps you self-evaluate and reorient yourself when needed. For example, if you discover that, say around people you're comfortable around, you fit into the jester archetype and feel most fulfilled when you do. But you never do this around strangers or acquaintances. When you know it would be healthy to be yourself in this way, understanding that about yourself is the first step in stretching yourself to be true to your inner nature. Without understanding the archetypes within, you wouldn't know your true inner nature, let alone be able to pursue that goal. Archetypes can also help us achieve psychological growth. Shadow work is a big part of the Jungian process of individuation, and being able to integrate that in your inner anima, if you're a man, or animus, if you're a woman, is necessary to achieve at least some degree of psychological wholeness. Integrating your shadow helps you harness the more primal elements of your psyche in a positive way, and also helps you curb unnecessary aggression, amongst other things. Archetypes can also help us understand how others see us unconsciously. They can help your business better relate to your clients or customers if you have a business, and help you develop more effective marketing strategies and compete better. I won't go into any crazy detail here, but if you're interested in using archetypes in your marketing strategy in business, for example, just Google marketing archetypes and you'll find tons of resources. And finally, archetypes make you more persuasive. Think about Jordan Peterson's archetypal stories, how a simple analysis of the Lion King or Sleeping Beauty can unlock the ancient, profound wisdom of the archetypes. If you're able to do the same in your conversations and storytelling, you'll inevitably be more persuasive. And there you have it. That's rule number 5. Next up, rule number 6. Ask, seek, knock. Proper prayer, from a psychological standpoint, is practically a superpower.